Bangladesh obviously is a very important country from a South Asia region perspective, and over the last several years now, there's a lot of development that's happened, both on the infrastructure side and overall from a larger geopolitical perspective as well. So I do feel Bangladesh can play a much larger role in this operation. So I think that's a really great question. So I think internet itself is borderless in that sense, right? So you don't necessarily have to be stationed at a certain place to leverage the internet, right? You could be sitting in Dhaka and you leverage the internet. You could be sitting out in the rural parts of Bangladesh and still leverage the internet. And the other beauty obviously is that the way the internet has evolved, it has brought in a lot of opportunities for everybody. Of course, for the youth, certainly from a career perspective, for learning, for doing something more beyond than what they're doing. I mean, if you just step back, a couple of years back, we didn't have things like social media manager or maybe an application developer. All those pieces are now coming together. Now with the next wave of even artificial intelligence, people say that would kill jobs. But I'm not very sure that it's going to kill jobs. It's the creative economy that will actually develop even further. So there will be a huge round of opportunities. When we talk about empowerment, and if you're talking specifically about youth empowerment, right, public and private partnership is the first step to go. Again, empowerment in itself is not something that you can do on your own. Right? Everybody has to come together as a community. All stakeholders have to come together, and that is how you will actually work together.
Today, internet is,
our part of the world, right? English is not the native language. Very few of us actually can speak English, understand English. Right? I think in that sense we are, privileged, right? But beyond that, when you look at taking the internet to the next billion or even the billion beyond that, the local language is what's going to take it. And from an ICANN perspective, from a global internet perspective, there are two pieces that play right now. There are things called internationalized domain names, which essentially means that you don't necessarily have to be on an English domain name. You could have a domain name in Bangla, and that could point to all the information that we have. So that's step number one, because if I don't know how to read or write English, even if I have a regional content website, the domain is still in English, I will not be able to utilize that or even access that. So I think if we can leverage the local language available for us and build systems around that, I think that would be great. The second piece that, again from an ICANN perspective, we're going to kind of bridge this kind of a digital divide is making sure that there's a concept called universal acceptance, which essentially means that all your software, services, applications can talk to each other in that language. So for example, if I have a Bangla-based email, if I send it to somebody else outside my system, will he or she be able to see it, accept it, read it? But there are obviously pieces in between in terms of infrastructure that need to be fixed, and I think we're working with global focus on that. I think gender identity itself is, in that sense, it's a fluid concept. So whatever people are comfortable with is fine. But I think from an internet perspective, what it really gives you is it gives you some level of anonymity in that sense, right? So whatever you're comfortable with internally, you can work with that. So there is no specific internet for males or specific internet for females. And at the end of the day, the internet is an open internet. It's for everybody.
For all.
It's inclusive. It's for everybody and gender neutral. Yes.
Okay. How can
when a company is thinking of becoming a registrar, a couple of things I think you should keep in mind. One is first and foremost, of course, is think through the business model. Right? So why do you want to be a registrar? So because there are costs associated with it, right? And there are compliances and all other pieces which come when you want to become a registrar. But having said that, if you've gone through those paces and you're sure that you want to do that, on the ICANN website there is a whole process in terms of how to become a registrar, which involves filling up a little bit of form, but it also involves a little bit of detailing about the company, financial standing, things like that. And once you put that in, you can become an accredited registrar. There is a fee for accreditation, but yeah, post that, when the process is completed, you become an accredited registrar. So all ICANN processes are very transparent, and everything is online. So actually, if you go onto the website, like I said, it's actually very easy to at least fill up the form, put in your business model, put in your details, and then things start moving from there.
What is
I'm thrilled beyond belief, to be very honest. I'm super excited. When I came in, I wasn't very sure what will be happening during the IGF in terms of response and everything. But yeah, seeing the passion in the people, seeing people talk about not only internet governance but overall internet perspective, I think that's been an eye opener for me. So it's been an amazing last couple of days here in Bangladesh, and I hope I get an opportunity to come back again and meet with the community and stakeholders. So I think internet, like I said, is basically the base layer, right? And on top of that, then you have innovation, which could be anything, right? So it could be social media, the companies that you talked about, maybe Facebook or TikTok or whatever. It could also be things like artificial intelligence, so Internet of Things, right? So the internet is basically the pipe. It's available for everybody to use. It's a common good platform, if you may, right? You build on top of that.
Not a vehicle.
It's a way. So you build on top of that in terms of innovation and pretty much utilize it for your benefit and leverage that. It's also about demographics, right? Bangladesh is a very young country, so we have a lot of youngsters here. So the first port of call in that sense in the internet, of course, is things like social media and maybe stuff like YouTube and things like that, right? So that's where they can actually absorb content. But what happens is in the maturity model is once you reach a stage where all of these things are already there, you look at the next level of growth, right? And the next level of growth obviously will come from productivity, right? And having said that, I mean, even YouTube and even TikTok in that sense actually are productive to the extent that we talked about careers initially, right? In the interview. There are lots of careers now flowing in the YouTube space also, right? So there's so many creators and influencers, and not only in YouTube, right? Instagram, everywhere else, you have people coming and making a living and making pretty well actually, right? So that's juggled in that sense, but I would say that the internet is all available and built on top of that. So I think from a safety perspective, there are basic things. I mean, as an end user, right? There are basic things that one needs to be obviously aware of, and of course, with each passing day, the cyber criminals or the bad actors also tend to become more intelligent and try newer ways to scam people. But I think as a community, if we are aware of basic do's and don'ts on cyber safety and hygiene, I think we should be good. But yeah, as a practice, we should try and keep ourselves updated in terms of what's happening in the cyber field and build from there. Intelligence, I think, is I don't know how to define the intelligence part. I think the internet evolves also, and like I said, there is innovation that can be built on top of that. So that I think is taken care of in that sense. Applications like ChatGPT and maybe something else will keep on evolving, right? I mean, again, if you go back, say maybe 15 years or 20 years back, when the internet was actually getting a toehold everywhere, people thought, oh, the internet will actually displace everything, there will be no job, nothing will happen, and things will go haywire. That hasn't happened. On the contrary, everything, even from a creativity perspective, economy, everything has kind of gone up, right? Same, I think, would happen with opportunities like ChatGPT or even AI in that sense. This is AI, it's open AI. So that would actually open up newer opportunities for all of us, right? It could be an enabler for sure, but I'm not very sure whether it's going to actually replace humans in that sense that we're talking about, or creativity in that sense, right? So I think the jury is still out there, but I still feel that everything can